Know where she is right now. We just need her home. Like, I don't know if she's stuck somewhere. I don't know if she's trapped. I don't know if she's eating or if she's drinking.
It's okay. It's okay.
I just need her home.
It's okay.
On a cold January evening in 2018, a sense of quiet dread began to seep into a suburban Virginia neighborhood when 16-year-old Jolie Deborah Renee Moussa walked out of her family home and never came back. To her family and friends, Jolie was more than just a high school student. She was vibrant, artistic, and deeply loved. Known for her affectionate nature and strong bond with her twin sister, Jolie's sudden disappearance sent shockwaves through her close-knit community. Initially dismissed by authorities as a possible runaway, her case did not receive the urgency it demanded. Her family, however, knew something was terribly wrong. The hours turned into days, and the worry turned into horror. 2 weeks later, their worst fears were confirmed. Jolie's body was discovered buried under leaves in a local park. The violent and calculated nature of her death stunned those who knew her and sparked outrage among those who followed her story. As the investigation unfolded, it was revealed that Jolie had been in communication with an older acquaintance, Nabiyu Ibrahim, a man who would soon be charged with her murder. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was a betrayal of trust, one that exposed the dark intersection between adolescence, vulnerability, and predation. The tragedy forced a community to confront the dangers lurking online and raised uncomfortable but urgent questions about how we protect young people, especially Black girls whose cases too often go underreported or misunderstood. This video serves as an educational exploration of Jolie Moussa's story, not just to recount the facts of a senseless crime, but to shed light on the systemic gaps that allowed it to happen, and to honor a life that ended far too soon. Through this narrative, we hope to provide insight, caution, and ultimately, advocacy for better protection of our youth. I want you to take a moment to support LAT True Crime Stories. Like this video and share. Subscribe for more thrilling crime cases like this. Jolie Moussa was a bright, creative, and deeply loved 16-year-old girl who lived with her family in Alexandria, Virginia. Born into a supportive and caring household, she was especially close with her twin sister, with whom she shared nearly everything, from clothes and stories to dreams for the future. Jolie was known among her peers and teachers as a kind and expressive young woman who had a strong interest in fashion and the arts. She had an eye for style and dreamed of one day working in the creative industry, perhaps as a designer or stylist. As a student at Mount Vernon High School, Jolie was considered quiet but engaged, someone who often kept to herself but exuded warmth to those close to her. Her love for music and self-expression was apparent in her social media activity and her personal style, which often reflected her youthful individuality. Her family described her as someone who was thoughtful and compassionate, someone who looked out for others and had an intuitive sense of people's emotions. Despite her young age, Jolie was not naive. She was growing into her independence and navigating the complexities of adolescence in a digital world where teenagers often form connections both in person and online. It was in this context that she encountered older individuals, including Nabiyu Ibrahim, a man nearly twice her age. Though her family had voiced concerns about some of her acquaintances, they, like many parents, were balancing trust with worry, hoping that open communication and guidance would help keep her safe. Jolie's disappearance shattered the lives of those who knew and loved her. She was not just another statistic. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a promising young woman whose life was stolen in an act of unimaginable violence. Understanding who Jolie was is essential not only to honoring her memory but also to realizing how deeply this tragedy affected her family, school, and broader community. On January 12, 2018, what began as an ordinary day quickly turned into a nightmare for the family of 16-year-old Jolie Moussa. That Friday morning, Jolie left her home in Alexandria, Virginia, reportedly telling her twin sister that she would be back soon.
She says, I have to go. I will be back real quick. When she leaves, we don't hear from her in an hour. We keep texting her. We blow up her phone. We keep texting her. Remind you, this is not like her.
Why do you not think she's just somewhere where she doesn't want to be found?
It's just not normal. You know, a part of me wants to say, oh yeah, well, she's just acting like a teenager, but this isn't her This isn't her MO. This isn't how she acts, so I can't help but worry. We communicate all the time, like all the time. So the fact that I haven't heard anything from my child, that's not normal. That's not normal at all.
She mentioned she was going to a party, but provided little detail about who she would be with or where the event would take place. Her twin sister noticed something unusual about Jolie's behavior. She was secretive, quick to leave, and took more time than usual getting ready, as if she was anticipating something important. Later that day, Jolie stopped responding to texts and calls. Her family began to worry, especially since Jolie had always maintained regular contact, even when she was out with friends. By that evening, her mother knew something was wrong and reported her missing to the police. Initially, law enforcement treated Jolie's disappearance as a runaway case. This response frustrated her family, who insisted that the behavior was entirely out of character for her. She had left without her coat in the middle of winter, didn't take any overnight belongings, and failed to check in with anyone. These were clear red flags that something was amiss. For nearly 2 weeks, Jolie's family lived in anguish. They organized search efforts, distributed flyers, and pleaded with the public and media for information.
It is day 5 and my sister is still missing. Since Friday 12th, she's been missing and she still is missing in day 5. Okay? I need my sister home, so Jolie, if you see this recording, I need you to come home. You are not in trouble in any way. And whatever it is with you, we love you regardless. Just come home. Just come home. Come on. Come on.
It's okay. Go ahead. Keep on going. Let them know.
And whoever has her, you are not in trouble either. No trouble whatsoever. You can drop her off wherever. It doesn't matter. Drop her off and let her walk if you have to. We are not worried about you. We are worried about Jolie, so we need her home. And Jolie, if you see this, you are not in trouble.
We love you, baby. We just want you home,
We just
baby.
need you home.
Hi, my name is Jholie. This is day 6 and I've never been away from my sister this long. Okay? And I just want you guys to understand that she's my twin sister, that we came out of the womb together, and that it's been 6 days and I still haven't seen my sister or any sign of her. So, today I want to speak to the kids though, but I don't mean like little kids, I mean people my age. 16, 18, doesn't matter. Anywhere around that, even 20, even around that, this generation. I need you to understand that this is our world. That my sister is just like you all, and that she needs you. She needs all of you. Please help my sister. Please help find my sister.
Despite their relentless efforts, the case saw little movement until a break came on January 26, 2018. In a wooded area of Woodlawn Park, less than a mile from where she was last seen, police discovered the partially buried body of a young girl. The area was known to be secluded, and it was evident that someone had attempted to conceal the remains.
We communicate all the time, like all the time. So the fact that I haven't heard anything from my child, that's not normal. That's not normal at all.
Whoever has her, you are not in trouble either. No trouble whatsoever. You can drop her off wherever. It doesn't matter. Drop her off and let her walk if you have to. We are not worried about you. We are worried about Jolie, so we need her home. And Jolie, if you see this, you are not in trouble.
We love you, baby. We just want you home,
We just
baby.
need you home.
A few days later, forensic results confirmed what her family feared most. It was Jolie. She had been murdered. The revelation shattered the hopes of those who had been praying for her safe return. But with this tragic discovery came a renewed urgency in the investigation. The question now shifted from where is Jolie? To who did this, and why? Following the discovery of Jolie Mousa's body on January 26, 2018, the Fairfax County Police Department shifted its focus from a missing persons case to a full-blown homicide investigation. The pressure to find justice for the 16-year-old intensified, and the detectives began to piece together the final days of Jolie's life, starting with her social connections and digital footprints. Soon, a key suspect emerged, Nabiyu Ibrahim, an 18-year-old from the area who had previously been in a relationship with Jolie. According to reports and later court proceedings, their relationship had been tumultuous and marked by a troubling pattern of control and manipulation. Although Jolie's family had initially been unaware of the full extent of the relationship, investigators discovered that Ibrahim had been a central figure in Jolie's private life during the weeks leading up to her disappearance. Police obtained access to Jolie's phone and social media activity, which revealed communication between her and Ibrahim on the day she vanished. Text messages and location data placed Ibrahim as one of the last people to have contact with her. Surveillance footage later confirmed that Ibrahim had met with Jolie the afternoon she disappeared. Further evidence emerged during the digital forensic analysis. Ibrahim had allegedly lured Jolie to a location under the pretense of resolving issues between them. But instead of reconciliation, the meeting turned fatal.
Why do you not think she's just somewhere where she doesn't want to be found?
It's just not normal. You know, a part of me wants to say, oh yeah, well, she's just acting like a teenager, but this isn't her. This isn't her MO. This isn't how she acts, so I can't help but worry.
We don't know where she is right now. We just need her home. Like, I don't know if she's stuck somewhere. I don't know if she's trapped. I don't know if she's eating or if she's drinking.
It's okay. It's okay.
I just need her home.
It's okay.
Fairfax County Police have not put out a missing persons alert because they tell me Jolie is classified as a runaway since she left on her own. But they say they are looking at every lead and trying to find her.
Although initial details of how she died were withheld from the public, investigators stated that the crime was premeditated and brutal. Despite growing suspicions, police took time to build a strong case. It wasn't until May 2018, months after Jolie's death, that Nabiyu Ibrahim was arrested and charged with her murder. Authorities stated that they had gathered enough forensic, digital, and testimonial evidence to move forward with prosecution. His arrest brought a mix of relief and sorrow to Jolie's family, who had endured months of heartbreak and frustration. In a press conference, Fairfax County Police emphasized that the case highlighted the importance of taking missing persons reports seriously, especially those involving teenagers. They admitted that classifying Jolie as a runaway early on had delayed key investigative actions, a mistake that would later draw widespread criticism and lead to internal review. The arrest of Nabiyu Ibrahim marked a pivotal moment in the pursuit of justice for Jolie Moussa. But for her loved ones, it was only the beginning of a long and painful legal journey. After the arrest of Nabiyu Ibrahim in May 2018, the legal process to seek justice for Jolie Moussa officially began. Prosecutors charged Ibrahim with first-degree murder, a serious charge that reflected the premeditated nature of the crime. The court documents revealed chilling new details. Investigators believed Ibrahim had intentionally lured Jolie to her death, with clear planning involved before the act itself. In the early stages of the proceedings, Ibrahim pleaded not guilty. However, as the case moved forward, the weight of evidence against him became overwhelming. Testimonies, cell phone records, social media exchanges, and surveillance footage established a strong timeline showing that he was the last person to see Jolie alive and that he had a motive rooted in control, jealousy, and anger. Faced with undeniable proof, Nabiyu Ibrahim ultimately changed his plea to guilty in court. During sentencing, prosecutors and Jolie's family members spoke powerfully about the devastating impact of her death. They described Jolie as a bright, lively young woman who had her whole future ahead of her.
There are a lot of questions for police tonight who first told us that Jolie was a runaway and she was not in any danger. We now know that she was in danger. They are treating this as a homicide case. Fairfax County Police say officers were in Woodlawn Park this morning doing a second search of the park. Some kind of investigative lead brought them here. They didn't find anything the first time. That search, we're told, happened in the immediate days after Jolie was reported missing. This morning, under leaves and debris, officers found what they believe to be Moussa's body. The medical examiner will make the official determination, but a distinctive tattoo is what's behind their preliminary identification.
Fairfax County police officers were out here this morning conducting a search in the park for a second time, hoping to find Jolie alive. Just around 11 o'clock this morning, one of our officers discovered what appears to be her body covered by leaves and debris.
Now, from the beginning, this case prompted tough questions to police who, in the first few days after Jolie's disappearance, did little publicly to get the word out about her. They did share her photo on Twitter 2 days after she was reported missing. But at the time, they told reporters Jolie left on her own and she was deemed a runaway. They also said they didn't think she was in any danger. Jolie's family took issue with that distinction, considering they say she was in communication with a male before her disappearance. She didn't take a phone charger or any extra clothes. Tonight, I asked police if they downplayed those concerns and if they took this investigation seriously enough. Here's their response.
Detectives began doing interviews with the family and began their rounds of interviews with friends as well. In some cases, those friends cooperated with the investigation. In other cases, they did not. So there has been an intense amount of work done by our detectives, and that work will continue as we are working the scene tonight and will throughout the weekend and until this apparent homicide is closed.
A future violently stolen by someone she once trusted. In 2019, Ibrahim was sentenced to 99 years in prison, effectively ensuring that he would spend the majority of his life behind bars. The sentence reflected both the heinous nature of the crime and the profound loss felt by Jolie's family, friends, and the broader community. Throughout the proceedings, Jolie's family expressed mixed emotions, relief that justice was served, but enduring grief that nothing could bring their beloved daughter back. They continue to advocate for greater awareness around teen relationships, emotional manipulation, and the importance of taking missing teen cases seriously from the outset. The legal conclusion of the case brought some closure, but also left lingering lessons about the vulnerabilities young people can face, and the critical need for vigilant community support to protect them. The tragic loss of Jolie Moussa sent shockwaves through her community and far beyond. In Fairfax County and across the country, many mourned the death of a vibrant 16-year-old whose life was senselessly taken. Vigils were organized almost immediately after Jolie's body was discovered, gatherings where family, friends, classmates, and concerned citizens came together to honor her memory, share their grief, and demand change. One of the major points of public outrage stemmed from the initial police response to Jolie's disappearance. Her family had insisted from the start that she would not have run away voluntarily. Yet, when they first reported her missing, authorities classified her as a runaway rather than immediately launching a full-scale search. Many in the community, including advocacy groups for missing children, criticized this delay. They argued that teen girls, particularly black girls like Jolie, often don't receive the urgent attention they deserve when first reported missing. This case ignited broader conversations about systemic bias in missing persons investigations and how assumptions about runaway teens can endanger lives. In response to the backlash, local police departments reviewed and, in some cases, reformed their missing persons protocols, aiming for faster action in future cases. Beyond the criticisms, the community also focused on supporting Jolie's family. Fundraisers, memorial scholarships, and public awareness campaigns were launched in her name. Her family used their platform to educate other parents and teens about relationship red flags, warning signs of manipulation, and the importance of speaking up about uncomfortable or controlling interactions. Nationally, Jolie's case became part of a larger push to highlight the #MissingBlackGirls movement, advocating for equal urgency and attention in missing persons cases regardless of race. For many, Jolie's story remains a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly life can be stolen and how critical it is for communities, law enforcement, and families to work together in protecting vulnerable youth. Her memory continues to inspire calls for justice, equity, and the need for early intervention when a young person goes missing. In the early days following Jolie Mousa's disappearance, there was initial uncertainty and skepticism surrounding the nature of her case. Authorities originally classified her as a runaway, a common designation for missing teens, which delayed a full-scale search and critical investigative efforts. However, as time passed with no word from Jolie and her loved ones continued to insist that her disappearance was out of character, law enforcement officials began to reassess the situation with a growing sense of urgency. Detectives turned to Jolie's digital footprint for answers. They traced her cell phone activity, social media posts, and communications on various messaging apps. This effort revealed her final interactions and began to form a timeline of her last known whereabouts. Through this analysis, a name quickly rose to the top of their suspect list: Nabiyu Ibrahim, an 18-year-old with whom Jolie had been in contact. Ibrahim was known to be an acquaintance of Jolie's, and forensic evidence tied him to her in ways that raised immediate red flags. Witness accounts also contributed to investigators' suspicions. Some of Jolie's friends recalled her mentioning plans to meet someone the day she disappeared, someone they later believed to be Ibrahim. This information, combined with inconsistencies in his story and digital evidence placing him near the area where Jolie was last seen, solidified Ibrahim as the primary suspect in the investigation. The breakthrough came in 2019, more than a year after Jolie's body had been discovered. After compiling a solid case backed by both technological forensics and witness testimony, law enforcement officials arrested Nabiyu Ibrahim and charged him with first-degree murder. His arrest marked a significant moment of progress in the case, bringing a measure of relief to Jolie's family, who had waited painfully for justice and answers. Ibrahim's arrest was the result of persistent investigative work that ultimately overcame the missteps of the initial response. It underscored the importance of taking all missing persons reports seriously from the outset, especially when digital evidence can help rapidly uncover the truth.
Chilling in its detail, and chilling because Nabiyu Ibrahim sounds entirely matter-of-fact about what he did to ex-girlfriend Jolie Moussa. This Ring video shows the 16-year-old Mount Vernon High School student stepping out the door on the last night of her life. When her body was found 2 weeks later, Ibrahim became the chief suspect because he already faced charges for a previous assault on Moussa. In a 5-hour-long police interview, Ibrahim calmly describes in great detail the night he ended Moussa's life after the two met up in a county park. He says he started choking her after he flew into a blind rage.
You know, you're in a hit passion, you're in a blind rage.
As detectives press for details, Ibrahim shows them how he applied what he called an MMA-style chokehold around Moussa's neck. He told them he knew he could stop the attack, but didn't.
I started choking her out more and more to the point where it was just like I just kept choking her to the point
Once Moussa lost consciousness and Ibrahim realized she was dead, he carried her body into the woods and covered it with leaves, never calling for help.
As the case moved into the courtroom, the public and Jolie Mousa's grieving family finally began to hear the full, harrowing truth about what had happened. After months of investigation and a growing body of evidence, Nabiyu Ibrahim eventually entered a guilty plea to the first-degree murder of Jolie Moussa. This admission not only confirmed what investigators and the family had feared but also opened the door to disturbing new details about the level of premeditation involved in her killing. During the legal proceedings, prosecutors laid out a chilling narrative of Ibrahim's actions. It was revealed that he had deliberately planned the murder, luring 16-year-old Jolie to her death with calculated intent. According to the court, Ibrahim had decided in advance that he was going to kill her. The evidence painted a portrait of a young man consumed by control and violence, and the court documents detailed how he took steps to conceal the crime, including attempts to mislead others about Jolie's whereabouts. Faced with the overwhelming evidence and his own confession, Ibrahim was sentenced to 99 years in prison, though 50 years of that sentence were suspended. This means he will serve a mandatory 49 years behind bars, with the possibility of supervised release only coming decades later. The sentence reflected the gravity of the crime while also accounting for Ibrahim's age at the time. He was just 18 years old when he murdered Jolie. For Jolie's family, the sentencing brought a complex mix of emotions. There was a deep and enduring grief over the loss of a bright, talented, and loving young girl. Yet there was also a sense of relief that justice had been served in the eyes of the law. Knowing that Ibrahim would be held accountable for what he did offered the family a measure of closure, even as their lives would never be the same. This outcome served as a stark reminder of how devastating domestic violence and manipulation can be, even among young people. The courtroom became not just a place of legal judgment but also a space where Jolie's voice, once silenced, was finally heard through the efforts of her loved ones and the justice system. The tragic murder of Jolie Deborah Renee Moussa sent shockwaves through her local community and far beyond. As details of her disappearance and death unfolded, the public response was swift, emotional, and deeply critical, not only of the circumstances that led to her murder, but also of the systemic failures that many believed contributed to a delay in action when she was first reported missing. One of the loudest outcries came from those who pointed out a disturbing trend. When teen girls of color go missing, their cases often don't receive the same urgency or media attention as others. Jolie's disappearance, at first, was not treated as suspicious by authorities, even though her family insisted that something was wrong. This hesitation led to crucial lost time, hours, and even days that could have been pivotal in saving her life. For many, Jolie's story became a symbol of the need for equity in missing persons investigations, sparking national conversations about racial bias and prioritization in law enforcement. Beyond the issue of police response, Jolie's murder also ignited renewed concern about the dangers lurking online. The fact that she had been in contact with her killer, someone she knew, through social media platforms highlighted just how vulnerable teens are to online predators, even when they believe they're speaking with someone familiar or trustworthy. Parents, educators, and activists began calling for stronger digital education programs, teaching young people not only how to navigate the internet, but also how to recognize manipulation, grooming, and other forms of digital coercion. In the aftermath of Jolie's death, several community-based initiatives were launched to prevent similar tragedies. Workshops on digital safety were organized in schools, and advocacy groups pushed for reforms to require law enforcement to act faster in suspected missing teen cases, particularly those involving minors and signs of possible foul play. Community leaders emphasized the importance of listening to families, trusting their instincts, and taking every report seriously, regardless of a teen's past behavior or demographic background. Jolie's name became a rallying cry, not just a memory, but a call to action. Her story continues to inspire community dialogue about justice, safety, and accountability, particularly for vulnerable young girls who too often go unheard until it's too late. Through her legacy, many hope to build a safer, more responsive world for teens, one where tragedies like hers are not repeated. If you recognize these patterns in your own relationship, reach out for help. Tell a trusted adult, call the National Dating Abuse Helpline, or contact local domestic violence resources. Document incidents of threatening behavior, save concerning messages, and trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. If you suspect a friend is in an abusive relationship, approach them with compassion rather than judgment. Phrases like, "I'm concerned about how he treats you," open conversation better than, "You need to leave him." Maintain the connection even if they're not ready to leave. Isolation only increases danger. Help them create a safety plan and know that leaving is the most dangerous time in abusive relationships, requiring careful planning and support. If this story impacted you, please like, comment, and share to raise awareness about teen dating violence. Subscribe to True Crime Stories for more stories that educate and protect.